Dr. Z is gonna cover, and Dr. Salzer, I think Dr. Z though, I think they're in charge of trading and sending something. Because of that, I did not want to give you a test when I'm not available to you for sure Friday and possibly Monday. Alright? So, you'll notice the test got moved back a week, and lipids got moved up a week. So lipids will just be on. So use the calendar in Blackboard to know what we're doing. So I just shuffled some things around. Because I really did not want to give you a test when I'm not, like, the next time you see me as a test, I felt like that might not be to either of our advances.
So this next week,
Because we haven't
cover
had anything.
lipids then?
It will, and I'll probably give you an addendum to the problem sets that has you work on some lipid problems, so that you know what to expect.
Okay, then I guess.
Because mostly people like to know what to expect.
No, I'm saying.
And I think the problem sets help you get a sense of what to study. All right. So, we're gonna go over, electron transport today in detail. Because I think, since it's probably Dr. Z who's gonna be here, not that he doesn't know electron transport, but I'm gonna know exactly what I want to know about electron transport. So I feel like it would be better if I was the one that went over that. And he worked on the worksheets with me on that skill exercise. And we haven't quite finished our, how far did we get on electron transport last time? What did we get down to?
We got to like the graph.
Oh yeah, you were supposed to be looking at that graph.
Yeah, just get your stuff out.
So we're gonna work through this. We're only gonna go to number 10, the challenge problem. You should not do because it has a mistake in it. So you learn it wrong and then you discover the mistake, and that seems like a bad path to go down. I'm pretty sure all of you would rather not learn it wrong. So stop at number 10. Number 11, the challenge problem, we are not doing. Because go up to number 10, but don't do number 11 because that mistake will hurt you. So many of you, some of you, at least a couple groups got through question 6. So let's roll through question 10. And then we'll do our little chat about electron transport.
Hey Danny, you're more than welcome to join us.
Hey, girl, yesterday
Yeah,
I did, yeah, you told me. Yesterday I think I finished the intro.
There you go, I know.
And I did the
You kind of feel it.
And then I was just more.
But in some ways, sometimes some questions are like, aha.
I saw Stan Twitter.
What's the pay?
35.
Danny has a new one.
yes.
Dark side.
How far did you guys get?
Question 5. I don't think.
Okay, that's right.
That's where you got to? Wish I knew what was going on.
Okay, and then this is my reading log. It was kind of short this time.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm gonna text Brittany and I that our tests go back.
Oh.
So our problem set isn't due.
That's a quality.
It's there. It's there.
You know, the inheritance
It's due 13.
So
It's not have worked out better for me.
we don't know what it is or where it is.
So this is on because I just
No,
talked to
she
her.
just left.
I'm a texting.
So it's due next Wednesday?
Yeah, it's due the
Which means
13th.
there's no problem solving thing before.
There's nothing due Friday at all.
She won't be here.
Yes, I know.
Shaded cross.
But that
Yes,
means
I
that
know. It's not the
there
best
won't be
for
problem solving hour before
But you got the right
the exam,
answers.
the
Clearly
problem
you
sets
did
deal.
good enough.
Oh yeah.
A negative on any of them.
Well, what's the terminal exam?
I was thinking I was maybe okay. So some of the advanced biochem students are hard fits like Kelsey. But she was gonna help me with the packet, and so I might just ask her if she wants to like help me before the test. So like if you guys want, we could maybe do it in the library.
So as soon as
I don't know what to do for this question yet.
Test me.
you get the electrons, is oxygen always there at the same time?
For what?
I gotta do my lab report.
So if we stop the chain ahead of you, you pass off what you
The one that's due this week.
I need to go down and get that NMR stuff today.
Yeah,
But
you need to do
and
that.
I is supposed to show me how to do it.
Doctors will show you how to do it.
He's in, if he's in there.
So if this
I am for
was
Brittany. I don't
I
normally.
was silly. That was
one, you
something
can write down here. They're
So
all.
she's
I
like
should
listening to
have.
our conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, Brittany.
I can record on my laptop.
Although I'm pretty sure I don't need to record this now because we're doing workbook. We're not going through stuff on the board. So
Start that off.
But you never know when she's gonna jump in.
exactly.
Okay. That's a change.
That's one thing that's really cool about med school is that
All the lectures are.
the lectures are all recorded. So if you can't be there, you can see it.
I used to do that with cell bio. I record all my lectures in cell bio.
Did it help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have to have
Hey,
to one of
Becca,
those.
can you make these?
Nobody else does.
They look like diabetes in a cup.
They do look like diabetes.
I want them.
They look like diabetes in a cup. Oh, and buddy, I really, really hate to do this to you.
I don't know where to go with question 5.
Okay. Oh, it's minus 30.4
How do we know that?
kilojoules, because I looked it up and told you. You could have looked it up in your book and it would have told you, or you could have Googled.
I was getting ready to Google.
Yeah, no, that's not, and I'm not gonna have a test question that says, how many kilojoules per mole?
I would love that, 'cause that means we can Google. Which means we would be allowed our phones. Which means
You
it
know,
would help us with the rest of the
honestly,
exam.
the test I would write you if you had access to your phone.
Wouldn't help.
Wouldn't help anyone.
But I could call a doctor.
Phone a friend.
Try, but how long does that take to negotiate one question? That's right.
How long does it take to actually get a doctor on the phone?
2 seconds.
I was gonna say touche.
2 seconds.
It would take me forever.
All I gotta do is call the clinic.
Daddy, well, you got a call? Okay, I'll be there in a minute. Let me see 8 patients.
So then
first.
complex 3 and complex 2, because they have the high enough values, right?
Okay, time out. Can somebody teach me how to calculate these values on complexity?
Yes. So you did the two. So it was on the board. And it was like the whole where you had to do like the coefficient value, then times the whatever the number in the book says, times this, which was its. And so the 2 was because it wasn't written into the equation already, so you always had to do it by 2 apparently. So the equation I didn't actually write it down, but like the letter.
Values
I
were
did.
on the board.
Yeah, they were the ones that were on the that were on the blackboard.
Oh, okay.
Is that it?
Yep, right there. That changed it.
Let's do this.
We gotta push the protons uphill and then what are they gonna do all that?
Design delta E.
Oh, sorry.
No, I don't know what that thing is. Is that an F?
It's like a weird,
It's like a J-ish
like
F
Latin
thing.
S thing, yeah.
And design delta
You
E.
make a gradient, you gotta interact with each other. It's releasing, the gradient dissipates when they're finally let. Yep.
Totally got this, right? So let me explain this, because this chart is not so intuitive. So what does it mean when there's a minus? And they hide that at the bottom of the chart, where you don't notice it. Right here.
Production?
What does minus indicate? Plus and minus indicate oxidized and reduced. So the minus means you're fully reduced. So do you have hydrogens or not have hydrogens and electrons, right? The hydrogens for us are what bring in the electrons as well. So do you have the hydrogens or do you not have the hydrogens when you're reduced? When you reduce a double bond, you put hydrogens on or take them off?
Put 'em on.
Put them on.
No, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
She's testing you,
I was
Cassie.
testing.
Thanks, Becca. Always have my back.
So with inhibitor number 1, who's reduced?
C.
But not the others. So if you 4 are A, B, C, and D, right? if the order of the chain, which it's not, was A, B, C, D, who would get the electrons first? First we'd give them, right? NADH would come in, it hand its protons and its electrons to Becca. Then your job would be to turn them, so you'd be reduced. Your job is to turn and hand them to Cassie. She hands them to you, you get them next, and who's your terminal acceptor? Who do we hand them to in the end? Well, what's it say the terminal acceptor is? It tells you. Who's the terminal acceptor? What is the terminal acceptor? So when you're all done with them, you pass them off to oxygen. So you all are passing your protons. But then I put in an inhibitor right here. Now, is Becca still reduced? Does she have access? But does Cassie have access anymore? So you three will be oxidized, right? How do I know that Becca was first in the chain? If I block her here, one's reduced and the rest are all oxidized. What if I block here? So can you use those games to figure out who comes first?
Shoot my text.
So out of these four,
Because
look
she's
at
not going to be here.
inhibitor
And
one,
Dr.
how
G's
many of
gonna
them
be
are
like, it's not
reduced?
fair for me to have you guys take a test
So
and I'm not going to be
one of
here
them's
to help
reduced,
you
so
with
who
the
must be
material.
first in line? C. So now
Because
can we
we
find one more?
just
Two of
talked
them.
B's next.
Lipids,
Okay,
yeah.
and then who comes next?
A.
And then who must be last?
B.
There you go.
Yay.
But is that chart really confusing to try and noodle through on your own?
Kind of. We had to do that in genetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could let you spend 20 minutes or I could help you.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I feel like your time is better spent on things other than learning to read this one chart that you're never going to read again.
Like it.
So you start with this one?
So it's kind of like, you remember in genetics when we did that chart and you had to figure out which one.
Yeah, you don't. We got to
I don't remember what the
So we do
purpose
not
for
have
that
class
chart
next Wednesday
was.
then? Or we do?
Who'd you?
She's not gonna be here.
Figure out which genes are on the same chromosome.
Nothing to do she's not going to be here Friday. Why is she not going to? Is that the symposium thing? What's Friday? Why is she not going to be here
find
Friday?
nuances to electron transport that don't really come out in the chapter.
Thing where she's got.
And I have looked and looked for a good Khan Academy video, something to have you watch. Yeah, they all have phone mistakes. Oops. I wish it went up and down because I hate it sign off every time we walk by.
Yeah, sideways.
So
light
we
switches
just,
are
so we just don't have to be here.
We do.
Only science majors have substitute teachers. That's the only major.
and have school on blizzards. And
Yeah, exactly.
Even though the power's out all over campus, our building is the only one that
Yeah.
is generated magically.
Yeah, exactly.
We're science majors, so we don't
Yeah,
have
we
to do
don't
that.
Hashtag engineering.
Writer.
So we do have a substitute. So we do have a substitute teacher on.
Yes, I think it's Z.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We should bring it.
That'll be.
I bought myself a donut this morning. I felt really bad about
I
myself.
almost brought donuts for you guys. I really thought about it.
Did I do the wrong
I
one?
almost.
That one muffin you brought that one day.
35?
It was good.
No, this is the one we're still working on. This is our pre-activity. We're not there
Because
yet.
I was gone.
You're good.
You
No,
went
you
my
were
bad.
here.
I was like, they got through shit fast.
I know,
Yeah,
but
so this one she told us it was like a 30.4.
How do we know that?
Oh,
It's
Shelby
online
and
and it's center
Giselle
book.
was
It's
the
just
real
like a
AP. She gave me my practice exam. Actually, she gave it to Scott.
I was doing it.
oh, you're fine.
Picked it up. Or sold
I've been
it.
copying and pasting mine from like the first week.
As he goes and spends another.
Okay.
So did you finish your paper?
Just about.
Did you finish yours?
for what?
Okay.
And what?
We have the intro, methods, results done.
And acknowledgements.
And then
So you have like all of it done.
Energy
No.
from glucose has been slowly.
we still have
You
to
have the
do
results.
the hazards.
Yeah, the results is what we don't have done. We
The
have.
discussion is all personal, it's just questions.
That's what we have to do. Is the
Do they
discussion.
give you the questions?
Yeah, she said the discussion, you just answer the questions that are in the thing, because your evidence is also in your results section.
Makes sense?
Do you have to talk in your results section? Well,
Yeah, you have to explain it all in your results section.
Oh, I didn't explain it
So
all.
it's
I
different.
just gave it like we did for all our
Yeah, no,
reports.
it's
Do you want
different.
me to send you what I have done now? But I'm gonna work on it again tonight. I'm gonna do the hazards and stuff like that.
Hers started it.
I'll work on it tonight. I've got it at home. I was just gonna send it back to you.
I'll send it to you what I have now, so you don't go and put anything like so we don't both end up working on the same thing.
Okay. We gotta finish that tonight.
You had to put work into making
'Cause I have no time
lots
tomorrow.
over here, none over here. What
This definitely
That's
helps
so
a lot.
bad.
Having the test pushed back. I know this because I had gross anatomy next Thursday and like trying to finish all my papers.
I think my hair is growing. You know what? I think it is a little bit. Yeah, because I chopped it all off.
Brittany's gonna love our conversation.
Oh,
I
Brittany.
may not even be able to have to show this to her because we're not doing anything. But
Might be fun to watch yourself.
yeah, I know. Now it's Becca. It's all your hands though. You're fine. And your book.
oh, it's you. Oh, I thought I was trying to get it on myself.
I wondered why you were doing that.
I was trying to say hi.
And this is how much time we actually spend on biochem during lecture.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do this, guys. I just got here.
Okay.
Very unexciting.
What is the term? What's meant by the term proton gradient?
I put
Is this a movement of protons from
Flow of
below?
protons.
higher concentration of protons outside the inner membrane of the mitochondria.
So are we getting a new problem set then?
I don't think so.
What's the sign for concentration?
I was proud of myself. I even like,
Brackets?
did
I
I?
just do brackets.
Oh, okay.
That's what I put for concentration.
There's. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
That comes from high
Concentration of protons to a lower concentration.
All right,
Did you reset your phone?
you guys, what'd you get for number?
So
No, I
it's,
have
did
my
you
background
put
and I don't have time to put the background on.
from high to low?
Oh, it should just be right
What's
there.
the delta G? Would it be positive?
I know,
Right
it's
here?
easy to do, it's just,
Or what are we talking about?
From low to high.
it's not on the top of my list.
If you're trying to move stuff from low to high, it's positive. Because is that spontaneous? No, that's work. And
So it's
positive
positive?
delta G
Oh.
means you're
No,
gonna do
it's-
work, right?
So I have this, and then
It would be negative, right? Because we're
let's
making it from
freak
high to
out
low,
for a second.
right?
I thought
No, it's saying, yeah, the first question. Or number 8.
Yeah, number 8.
Well, it says moving it from low to high.
Oh. So then that would be fun.
Why is there a negative delta G associated with dissipating nutrients? Because it releases energy?
Because it moves from high to low.
Because it's spontaneous.
The high to low is negative.
Because it's easier.
Oh, yeah, spontaneous.
Wait, what am I writing?
All right, so it's positive, right? Because when you make a gradient, that requires work. Can you get something with a positive delta G to go? Yes. Sure, but you gotta add energy of some sort, right? Our energy in proton gradients comes from the energy that was in glucose. We broke it down into little tiny packets that NADH is putting in. NADH is gonna donate its energy to pump the protons, positive delta G. But when you dissipate the gradient, when you let them flow back into the mitochondria, it's delta G.
Negative?
And that's what drives ATP synthesis. We pay with the energy of glucose to pump them out. They spontaneously want to come back in, and we use that spontaneousness to drive ATP synthesis.
was this CO2 supposed to be labeled the C? Because it said label
No,
here
the
too.
pyruvate's labeled.
Yeah,
So is it
Right
positive
there.
delta?
yeah, but it says label here too.
Yeah,
Where?
you made you made OAA out of that same pyruvate.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't.
Why is it
look.
not labeled?
I forgot to highlight it. Not fair.
Life's not fair. We're just gonna
I spent 3 hours on this.
but you're gonna know it stone cold for the test, aren't you?
Yes.
They've got you back against the wall extra tight
I
today.
know.
I wish that pillar was.
Right.
I just wish it went out. I don't need the door to tuck into the hallway.
We don't need the ceiling supported.
I don't think those are support walls, but they do stop the doors from opening into the middle of the hallway. You know, so you
I
have
got 3 and a
whack.
half.
I spent 3 hours on it. I'm not even kidding. I got out of work study
We
and
need to get number 10.
We're gonna draw a pretty picture
forgot to highlight.
that takes a whole sheet of paper turned sideways.
Highlight? Well, like, label it.
Alright? So when you take notes about this, you want a whole sheet of paper turned sideways. Cause it's just not gonna fit any other way.
Well, we're trying to.
We're taking this.
We're gonna talk about electron transport in
Wait,
detail.
do you guys want my piece of paper?
Can I have a piece
So
of
I'm
paper,
not gonna
please?
give you a pathway for electron transport.
You are so
Do I smell like dead
I'm gonna
bodies?
ask you to draw this picture.
I did not smell anything.
Yeah, we had to, like these high school students came.
Where you're like, oh, I see how that works.
I have seriously.
Okay, so I should probably try to record
So I'm gonna
this.
put a mitochondrial membrane, two of them.
Becca, could you like situate this so that you
And
can
an
see?
inner membrane.
Oh.
And then what do you
It
call
went
the
off.
space between those
gone.
membranes?
Oh, it's still up. It's just, I think, there's like a
The
camera.
intermembrane space.
Trees.
Very unclever. But I think unclever names are the best in this case, don't you?
It's not very.
Mine is like, we're just gonna put this inner membrane, we're gonna draw a whole swath across it.
I
So
do.
you can touch your outer membrane up here at the top,
Danny?
okay?
There's a little. Okay,
Out here is our cytoplasm. Our outer membrane is full of something called porins.
Scoot it closer.
Oh, we're gonna put them to good use. Porins let everything through. How picky are porins?
Picky.
They let everything through.
Not picky.
Not picky. Okay?
I'm still
So, the intermembrane space looks just like the cytoplasm. If it's in the cytoplasm, it can be in the intermembrane space. We don't have to find any clever way to get it there. Did we make any NADH out in the cytoplasm? Where'd we run glycolysis? Cytoplasm. So do we have some NADH out here? Do we have some NADH in the intermembrane space? We do. We're going to have to deal with those later. It turns out they're a problem, but we're going to ignore our problems for now. We're going to pretend they're not there. Okay? So, I'm going to first put my first part of the electron transport chain. Complex 1. Okay? And complex 1 is also called NADH dehydrogenase. So what's going to happen to NADH here? D means we're going to take something off. What are we going to take off of it? Hydrogens. Right? So what's complex 1 going to do? It's going to take off hydrogens and it's going to turn NADH into NAD+. Okay? When it does that, all right, it is going to have, those two hydrogens are going to get passed to this complex along with their electrons. And this one has something in it called FMN. Flavin. I think that's what it is. I might need to double check myself. But it definitely is FMN. All right? And what did you tell me? Things that hold electrons, what properties should they have?
Redox centers.
Redox centers that are made up of what?
Metal.
Transition metals or?
No.
What was your other thing? You told me in question 1 or 2. What should it have?
Aromatic ring.
Aromatic rings. Flavin is an aromatic ring from B vitamins. It's going to pass it to iron sulfur centers. Do these look like the kinds of creatures that like handling electrons? They do. They're pretty cool with handling electrons. And ultimately, our two hydrogens are they're gonna play past the hot electrons, and then they're gonna pass these guys out to a complex in the membrane called Q. Okay? Q's secret name is ubiquinone Q. Why does everyone just call it Q? I don't want to keep saying ubiquinone. But you'll see both names. Okay? That's not complex T, that's just Q. Okay? In addition to those two hydrogens getting passed to Q, so we go from Q to QH2. In addition, what are we gonna do with all that energy from the glucose we broke down? What did I say we were gonna use the energy to do? When you add energy, you can do work. What's the work we wanna do?
Pump electrons.
We wanna pump protons. We're gonna pump
That's what you
4 protons.
Close enough.
Complex 1 is a good proton pumper. It pumps 4 protons. Okay? That's different than the 2 protons that were here. These are just protons in solution that get pumped out. And then, so we used our energy from glucose that was hanging out in NADH to pump protons. All right? Next, we're going to put complex 2. And we're going to completely ignore it. We don't want it here. But we'll put it there so they're in numerical order in your picture. We got more Q hanging out in our membrane that is for complex 2 to use, that we're going to come back to. Now we're going to put in complex 3. You like my art skills? They may not all, in fact, be shaped like rectangles. Okay. Complex 3's other name is cytochrome C oxidoreductase. Why do people like to call it complex 3?
Slowly coming back.
Because that's a big complicated name, right? Do you want to stumble over that every time you want to have a conversation about electron transport chain?
Oh yes, the essay final.
Okay? So, our QH2, it's stuck in the membrane like I drew it. But if you looked at it from the top, Q can float around in the membrane. Alright? So Q can cruise on over and approach complex 3, physically still in the membrane. But I can't do that on a flat page. So we're just going to draw it. It's going to come over here. And it's going to hand off its 2 electrons to complex 3. Okay? Complex 3 contains cytochrome B, which is an aromatic compound. It also has some of those great iron sulfide centers. Okay? So can it play hot potato with the electrons? It can. And it's going to use that energy to do what? What do we do with all our energy? Pump protons. We're going to crank another 4 protons out into that cytoplasm, into that interplasm, membrane space. Okay? In addition, somebody's got to be the lucky recipient of those electrons. Who's going to be the terminal acceptor of the electrons? What's our terminal acceptor? Oxygen, right? This Bio 101, right? Was the terminal acceptor of the electron transport chain. Oxygen. Are we apparently at the end yet? Apparently not, because I didn't tell you were going to use oxygen, right? All right. Cytochrome C is now the lucky recipient of all the electrons. Okay? And you'll notice I didn't draw cytochrome C embedded in the membrane. You know why?
It's a complex 3 cytochrome C.
It has cytochrome C attached to it. But is cytochrome C embedded in the membrane? Apparently not, because we didn't draw it embedded in the membrane. You're never going to guess what number complex comes next. 4. Yep. So for once, we named them mostly in order, except for 2. We'll talk about 2 later. Okay? Cytochrome C can float around in the intermembrane space and go over to complex 4, which is also known as cytochrome C oxidase. Okay? We're going to oxidize cytochrome C at this point, which means we're going to take away its hydrogens. This is our step. Where we take half of an O2, so a single oxygen, and we combine it with our 2 hydrogens to make what? Water. There we go. We're also going to pump some more protons. Okay? Complex 4, we're starting to run out of steam now, though. This is running downhill, right? You know it's got to run downhill, part of it. We're stripping the energy out. So the cytochromes, there's less and less energy left in this system because we use some of the energy to pump 4 protons, some more energy to pump another 4 protons. We're running out of energy. We've used up all the energy just about from glucose. We're only going to pump 2 protons now. We just don't have enough gas left in our system to do more than 2 protons. Okay? Now my limited art skills are going to come into play, sort of.
I'm out of room.
There we go. That's the best you get from me. You're never going to guess what the number for the last complex is. This is called complex 5. What's its other name?
ATP synthase.
ATP synthase. This one you usually do know the name of. Okay? So what's it going to turn? It's going to take ADP and an inorganic phosphate and turn it into ATP, right? You know that. But how's that going to happen? Did we build a gradient? We built a gradient. Does entropy push hard on that gradient to go back to not being a gradient? It does, right? And ATP synthase has a channel through it that all the protons can fit through. And they do. Because where do all these protons that we pump want to go? They want to go back into the mitochondria, don't they? Into the center of the mitochondria. They flow through ATP synthase. ATP synthase is literally like a water wheel. When protons physically flow through it, they turn the bottom part and make kinetic energy. It actually rotates. And what do we use the kinetic energy to do? To put a phosphate on ADP and make ourselves some ATP and make that high energy bond.
So the hydrogens from complex 4 that are pumped out
All of them. These 4 plus these 4 plus these 2.
all go into there?
They all go into there. They all want out of that
I
space.
thought in complex 2 was 4 hydrogens there, which is cytochrome C.
They do. Those are not going to cytochrome C. Those are the 2 hydrogens. This hydrogen and the 8 plus hydrogen are. These are extra protons that we pump.
Oh, okay.
These are extra ones that we pump. So how many did we pump from putting 1 NADH in? 10. 1 NADH equals 10 protons. Guess what? Guess how much energy it takes to make 1 ATP? And it's not 10.
36.
Every time 4 protons come back through, it makes an ATP. So how many ATPs does 1 NADH yield? Oh, is it an even number? No. Does it have to be an even number? No. It's just about what we pump out and what flows back through. Who are we missing from this that's holding some of our protons? NADH was holding some of them. FAD. We're going to put FAD right here. FAD is going to become FADH2. And this reaction goes both ways right here. Okay? Complex 2's other name is succinate dehydrogenase. Have you heard of that before? What is succinate dehydrogenase? It's in the Krebs cycle. That's the step where we generate the FADH2. It is just simply embedded in the membrane. Does it pump protons? Ooh, It does not. And what did we say about FAD compared to NAD? Which one can hold more energy? NAD, carbon-oxygen bonds, oxidizing those doesn't take as much energy. There's more left over to put into NAD. That carbon-carbon bond that we want to do, that takes more energy. That means there's less left over. All we can make is an FAD. There is not enough energy in an FAD to pump any protons at complex 2. But we play the same game with our iron sulfide centers. We play hot potato with the electrons. We still have 2 protons, and we pass those 2 protons from FADH2 off to Q, make QH2. So if you have an FADH2, what's order, so for NAD, what was the order of complexes? We started with complex 1, which went to 3, and then they all use 5, ATP synthase. If you bring in an FADH2, what complex handles it first? 2, which passes it to 3, which passes it to. So how many protons do I pump from an FADH2? None here. 4. So 1 FADH2 equals 6 protons pumped. So how many ATPs is that? 1.5. If you go look online, you will see endless numbers of videos and biology textbooks as well. You get 3 ATPs for NADH and 2 ATPs for FADH2. You do not. Those are nice tidy numbers on paper, but when you measure it, we know this is how many protons you pumped, and we know this is how many protons it takes to turn ATP synthase. It does not have to be an even number. That is an idea that is 40 years old, and this has not been stripped out of those textbooks yet. Sure, but it won't give you 3 and 2.
We'll put it back up on there.
1 and, yeah, you do, right? When you run Krebs cycle, what's 3, 2, 1, 1 stand for? You get 3 NADH, you get 2 CO2s, you get 1 FADH, and you get 1 ATP. So you're going to run 3 through, right? You can run any combination that you want, right?
So FADH comes in complex 2, and then it just goes.
It cannot leave. So like it is, there's only one of it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a single complex here, and it is covalently attached to complex 2.
But the protons from FADH
Go to Q.
They don't go to 1. And then
Nope. The only thing 1 handles is NADH. The only thing 2 handles is FADH2. They all funnel into 3 and 4 and 5. Does that make more sense than reading it in the book? I mean, you kind of get it from the book, but did you have a sense of how everything flowed when you read it? Or does this help? Okay. So, we're all good, right? Because the only place we make NADH and FADH2 is in the mitochondria, right? Did we draw any outside of the mitochondria? Dang it. We have to find a way to deal with those. Didn't I tell you those were going to come back on us later? Do we have a problem? We have a problem. NADH can come through the porin just great. Which side of the inner membrane do I need NADH from? I need it on this side. Where are all my NADHs from glycolysis? Oh, they're on this side. You notice I don't have any porins in the inner membrane. You know why? Because there's no porins in the inner membrane. We need that to be a tight membrane so we can build a gradient across it. So how are we going to get them in there?
Does it go through the ATP synthase somehow?
Nope. We don't. We got to do something clever
It probably
and complicated. You know, clever and complicated often go hand in hand, right?
Does it use
So we'll leave that up there.
ubiquitin? Oh no.
It does not use anything that's written on that board.
Oh, doesn't it use the oxygen somehow?
Nope.
Oh,
We're moving over there. Here's the computer, guys.
So, let's build our inner membrane over here. Because I want to leave all that there so that you have that picture while we work on our activity. Or so that you can take a picture of that picture if you so desire.
This is the inner membrane?
Yep. Do we ever take malate out of the Krebs cycle? We do directly. How do we make glucose? When we do gluconeogenesis, what do we pull out of Krebs cycle? We usually pull out OAA. And we take OAA and turn it into
Oh, I know this.
PEP, right?
Yeah.
How does OAA get out if this is a tight membrane? This is our sneaky way we're going to get NADH in. We're going to take advantage of that system. So we've got a malate shuttle. Malate can cross. All right? So we have the ability to OAA and malate, you know, are connected, right? By a reversible reaction. No worries. But what's on that arrow in Krebs cycle? What else goes on at this step? And what's it generating? NADH. So when we go from malate to OAA, we generate an NADH, right? So if we go from OAA to malate, we put some hydrogens on malate. Malate can cross through the malate shuttle. It can go back and forth. It's allowed. There's a specific way to get it across. All right? When we do that, so if this is my NADH from glycolysis, it can approach OAA, it can convert it into malate. Malate can cross through, this pump runs both ways, the malate shuttle and malate pump runs both ways, and that malate can be turned back to OAA inside the mitochondria. So I brought in an NADH, got out an NAD+, transported across, turned an NAD+ back into an NADH. So that's how my NADH gets across, right? Does the actual physical NAD part cross the membrane? No, what's the only thing that actually crossed the membrane?
The hydrogen?
Malate and those hydrogens that came off that NADH. So how does NAD ever get into the mitochondria? Because it can't ever cross that membrane. Not ever. You ever heard of the mitochondrial genome?
Yes.
Mitochondria got to make their own NAD. They got to make a lot of their own stuff because not very much crosses the mitochondrial membrane. Do mitochondria need a genome of their own? Yes. They cannot function without their own genome.
Is there any like structural differences between mitochondrial NAD and like the
Ours,
rest? Yeah.
our main DNA, yeah. The mitochondrial genome is related to ours, same code, same codons, own specialized polymerases, and yeah. And have you had cell yet? Do you do that in cell? You should do that in cell, but I don't know if you do what? Mitochondrial genome, or maybe you do it in genetics. You do it in
We're doing genetics now.
molecular? Okay.
I don't think we did that in South.
Yes.
Briefly
So
talking
is
that
the
it's
malate
different.
system already there for gluconeogenesis?
So like,
So we just take advantage of it as a way to transfer the energy.
So, go ahead.
so like, at the bottom of the page, that's supposed to be like, not the intermembrane space, right? Then
This is the intermembrane space here. This
So
is
can it
the
go-
inner membrane. This is the inter.
So can that arrow going through the protein, can it go the other way?
Yep.
Okay.
Malate can go both ways. Yep. That's the job of that malate pump, is to just shuttle malate back and forth across the membrane. Okay? But it turns out that that is not enough to get all the NADH across that you make.
I was gonna ask, so when malate comes back, is
It just goes to being OAA and
it just, it makes
releases.
the NADH, and
Yep,
that's how it
and
gets
then that
inside.
can go to complex one, and then we just do our normal thing. Okay? Another possibility,
So does the shuttle have to happen before glycolysis?
after you make NADH, you do glycolysis, you get some NADH, you get that NADH into, it doesn't cross, but its energy crosses in through malate. Then you can put it back onto NADH, run it through electron transport.
So where is malate in relation to this?
It's
Where is it?
it's inside and outside. Malate's on both sides of the membrane, because it has a pump to take it across.
No, but the malate shuttle, like,
It's in the membrane. That's the inner membrane.
the like, before or after, like.
These components aren't really in a straight line in the membrane. It's just, right, mitochondria are a
Okay.
big shape, and all this stuff's just floating around in the membrane. We draw them flat, because then we can understand what we're going to say, okay? Another thing that you can do is you can take DHAP and turn it into 3-phosphoglycerol. This is not 3-PG, all right? So don't fall for that one. All right, so we can make NAD+, okay? We're gonna use the same strategy. We're gonna have something that helps us deal with those. All right? When we turn 3-phosphoglycerol back into DHAP, that is done by a protein called flavoprotein dehydrogenase. So does that suggest it's gonna move some hydrogens around? And it does. In this case, no carbons cross the membrane. When 3-phosphoglycerol goes back to DHAP, it passes its hydrogens to flavoprotein dehydrogenase, and it says, gotcha, I'm gonna put those two guys onto, I'm a flavoprotein, so I'm not gonna have NADH. What am I gonna have as my acceptor of those protons and electrons? I'm only gonna use FAD, right? Okay. So how many ATPs was my NADH worth? 2.5. If I send it through the malate shuttle, it's still worth 2.5. If I send it through flavoprotein, now it's worth? How much is an FADH2 worth? 1.5. Did I lose some stuff?
So that
That's on the inner membrane, yes, I am, not intermembrane, I misspoke. So let's do an ATP count, shall we? Because how many questions count ATPs? A lot.
The top, are you putting NAD in or are you getting NAD out?
NADH, this is from glycolysis.
Okay.
We use it to turn DHAP into 3-phosphoglycerol.
Okay, so then it's doing it.
Flavoprotein dehydrogenase will turn it back into DHAP, sadly giving us not quite as much bang for our NADH buck.
Compared to the malate, the shuttle.
Do you have 5 minutes for me to give you the count before I'm not here Friday so you can be working on your problem set? Okay. So let's do 1 glucose. Okay? What do we get out of glycolysis? We get 2 pyruvates. What else do we get? How many ATPs? 2. How many NADHs? 1, 2, 3. So, worst case scenario, both of those come across using this system. where we downgrade them to FADs. What's my total ATPs? These two could become FADs, and 2 of those would then generate how many ATPs total? 3. If I use the malate shuttle, my best case scenario, how many ATPs will these 2 pyruvates generate? 5. I could get anywhere between 3 and 5. I could send both through the flavoprotein, both through malate, or one of each. Okay?
Oh no, I got it.
At the PDC step, I put in pyruvates, and I don't get pyruvate out. I turn pyruvate into acetyl-CoA. How many NADHs do I get? 1 for each one, but for 1 glucose, how many times do I do this step? So I get 2 times 1 NADH equals how many ATPs? Wow. And now I'm in the mitochondria, so what's my yield for ATP? Each one yields 2.5, so my total is 5. Krebs cycle. For 1 glucose, how many do I get NADH each turn? If I just do 1 turn, 1 pyruvate gives me how many NADH? 3. But how many times do I do that?
Twice.
For 1 glucose. So I get 2 times 3 NADH. So that's 6 NADH. How many ATPs is that?
13. Oh, 15.
6 times 2.5 is 15, for sure. How many FADs did I get for each term? 1. So for a glucose, I get 2. How many ATPs is 2 FADHs going to give me? How much for 1 FADH?
It'll be 3 ATP total.
1.5 for each one times 2 is 3. If you add this all up, you get 30 to 32 ATPs, because we got to count these.
That's where my
right? These
36.
come over and count in.
That's where I was thinking.
What do they tell you if you get in biology? 34, 36, bigger numbers. But are those numbers accurate? No, these numbers come from measuring real cells and watching protons flow.
So for Krebs, is that going on?
These numbers, yeah, so like here, Krebs, you do it twice for glucose. Each term is 3. You do it twice.
So it's not.
2 pyruvates, so each pyruvate has to go through to metabolize a full glucose.
So it's not 2 turns per pyruvate.
2 turns per glucose. Right? And pyruvate takes 2 turns to get out, but the first turn doesn't generate anything, right?
Take them back.
Ben?
Because I can do the next one. And I'll just stress from 2 different classes. If I had an
Did you
extra
add
year, I'd
these
do
two?
this spring semester or fall semester.
And what else did I leave out? You are short some. How many GTPs? 2. And 2 GTPs is equal to 2 ATPs, so we add these over here as well to get our 30 to 32. So your lowest yield would be 30, your highest yield would be 32. Why do we get a range and not an absolute number? Depends on how you deal with that stuff from glycolysis.
So the NADH, the 2 NADHs from glycolysis, the one that makes 5, that goes through.
Those ones go through, this is inside. Pyruvate is what's transported into the mitochondria. That's the step where we
Then what
transition.
about the one that makes the 3 ATPs? Because it's either or.
This is a really sucky time for her to
Which one makes the 3?
From glycolysis. the
These
NADH.
are the NADHs from glycolysis. Either 3 or 4 or 5, right? You could get, we have,
This is dependent on
you have 2 of them. If you take both of them through this pathway, you get 3 ATPs. If you take both of them through that pathway, you get 5 ATPs. If you take one that way and one this way, you get 2 2.5 plus 1.5 is 4. So it depends on how you get it in.
I had Alex Welsh in the face one of these yesterday.
Well, it makes
I know the
it
feeling.
each